and record. It's our last Texas Power Up of the year. A whole year has gone by. We have the holidays coming up, and I know everybody's, we still all work during the holidays, but maybe it looks a little bit different. So this morning is our last one, and then we're going to be back. I think it is going to be January the 4th. So it'll be the first Thursday of the month. It's been fun spending time with you every Thursday for the last 3 or 4 years now. Let's start with gratitude and shout outs. Any gratitude and shout outs that you guys have on your mind that you want to show love to? All you need to do is click the reaction button and raise up your hand like Daniel Weiser just did. Daniel, I'm going to you first. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I want to shout out the agents that are showing up in the office for scripting every week, getting better together. And in particular, Ziamara, who set 4 appointments last week in one day, calling for sale by owners and just leaning into the scripting that she's been doing week by week. So super grateful for that.
Yeah, and we're super grateful that Daniel leads those scripts. That's really cool. And the way we get better is by literally getting better, right? Professionals practice until they can't get it wrong, not until they can get it right. So I love that. I love that. I have a shout out for there is this gentleman on our BKT Houston team. His name is Kevin. Kevin this week, and Yvette and Mackenzie. We had a really difficult and heavy situation with one of our clients who is a vet. He's suffering from PTSD, and all of these 3 leaders just jumped in and were just really spectacular in their support of him. Sometimes we deal with really heavy stuff that are not real estate related with our clientele, and I just want to shout out Kevin and Mackenzie and Yvette. Without going into details, they really handled it really well and were just amazing and full of resources. So really appreciate you guys. Super appreciate you. Any other shout outs, any other gratitude? Kevin, yes, sir.
Yeah, segue on that. I just want to shout out the entire place, Ben Kinney team, BKT Houston, all of our leaders and mentors. I was asked to lead the Market Centers PC class last night, and it went really, really well. And it was all stuff that I learned from being on these calls, being mentored by Jaime and all that stuff. And all the new agents just, they absorbed the hell out of it. So it was great. So I just want to shout out all the team and all the stuff, all the resources that we have here.
I love that. Was that in College Station, Kevin?
Yeah.
Nice. Thanks for giving back. That's awesome. Good for you. I love that. The way we learn is by teaching, right? So I love that we're doing that. I love that. Thanks for that shout out for all the leaders and all the teammates that you've got over there, and really all of us, right? Like we all make each other better. Iron sharpens iron, right? It's one of Ben's favorite things to say. It's iron sharpens iron. His second best thing that he says is success is survival. Success is survival. So don't quit. You've already gone this far. I love that. Okay, if no other shout outs or gratitude, moving on to announcements. The only announcement that I had was for those of you who work the Place Cadence system, which is mass action days and inventory creation days and call nights. I believe a lot of people are doing their call night next week on the 14th. So those of you who are doing it on the 14th, awesome. And those of you who are waiting until the 21st, awesome for you too. That's all I had, unless any of our other place spaces have any announcements, or anyone's got any announcements that we need to get into before our panel. No? Well, alrighty then. Then I will go ahead and get our panel up, because that's what you guys are really here for, right? I will put up Miss Valencia and Miss Maria. Let me see. Here we go. Add spotlight. Daniel, add his spotlight. Add Casey's spotlight. And Ziamara, add her spotlight. Amazing. And I'm going to go ahead and start with Valencia, you guys. If Valencia or any of our folks need to go at any point, they're welcome to just jump off, and totally cool. So I love that. Oh, I just saw your message, Valencia. It's like we are in tune with each other. Yes, ma'am. So I asked our folks here to kind of tell us what is working or what is happening in their world that we can learn from. These are some of our top leaders, some of our top agents in our company. So I wanted to start with Valencia and really just give her the floor of like what coaching or what scripts that she wants to share with us that's showing up right now that would be helpful to our agents, how we can improve our conversion, any tips on appointment setting, that sort of thing. I just want to give her the floor for a few minutes. And if I were you, I'd get ready to write.
Good morning, Texas. Thanks, Adelina. So a couple of things came to mind when Adelina probed me with this question of what are you doing right now? What's happening? So I have 3 things. Follow my note takers. I swear it'll be 3 and I'll give you 3. And they all start with the C, so it makes it even easier. So the first one is clarity. To be successful, one of the strategies we are utilizing right now is to be very clear for ourselves personally. What do we want to do? What are we working on? What are we working towards? Especially when we go into the new year, a lot of people are like, I want to get healthier. Cool. That sounds fantastic, but what does that look like? It sounds like a really phenomenal idea, but there's no brain behind it. So in order to get clear, you could say, I have decided to go to the gym X amount of days a week. Or I'm only going to have 3 cookies one night a week. So getting clear on what does that look like when you say, I want to be healthier, when you set a goal for yourself in your business, I'm going to hold more open houses. Fantastic. How many is more? How do we know that at the end of 2024 that you actually won? Should I give you a high five because you held 1 extra open house? Like, how do we know? So we have to get really clear on what do our goals look like and how do we know that we won them? Our agents love to say, well, I want to spend more time with my honey bun. Okay, that's cool. Does that mean 1 extra date night? Or does that mean you just watch a movie together once a month? Like, what does that look like? So getting really clear on goals for you personally and in your business will truly help you be more successful. The second C I want to share with you guys is consistency. So after you get clear on what the world are we doing, get really consistent on those goals. So if I decide spending more time with my honey bun means 2 date nights a month, no matter what happens in that month, I have to hit those 2 date nights. If I decide to go to a trampoline park and blow my knee out, then date night may look a little bit different, but I'm still going to have that specific, I'm intentional with that time to have with my honey bun. Same thing with your open houses, or even if you decide like Z is kicking butt with for sale by owners. If she says, I'm going to call 1 hour every day for sale by owners, no matter what happens, she has to get that 1 hour a day in doing that activity. So consistency, no matter what comes your way. So get really clear. We have to become consistent no matter what happens. And then the third thing, we have to be curious. This leans more towards our clientele and the people we're looking to help next year. Because there's so many things that have happened and changed in our worlds, we can't just tell them, oh, here's a solution, let's go do that. We're taking off running. You're going to make enemies faster than anything. You have to be really curious. Well, Maria, tell me, why is that important? Oh, that's fantastic. I'm glad you shared that. What does that look like for you guys? Well, what would happen if this doesn't, this isn't the right house? So become curious in everything that a client brings to you. Before you solve their problem, dig into curiosity. Why? What's going on? How would this impact you? Well, if it didn't happen, then what? How important is this to happen? So become very curious as you're helping people next year, because it's going to be a little bit more complicated to get people to do what you want them to do if you have no clue why it's important to them. So get clear on what's going on, be consistent on what you've decided and you've committed to doing, and then be curious in every situation to ensure you're solving the right problems for yourself and especially your clients.
Dang, I love that. I love that. And like, if I took one more lesson from you, Valencia, is concise. Was she concise and did she get her point across? Absolutely. Thank you for that. You're awesome. Appreciate that. Daniel, I'm going to go to you next. You've been consistent. I love that. Thanks for paving the way for that, Valencia. You've been consistent with your open houses this year. You have added 91 leads to your database from the 47 open houses that you've hosted this year. Now, with the market change, you've adjusted your open house strategy, and you and I were discussing it this week in our one-on-one. And I thought, gosh, this sounds like something that the rest of our folks would want to hear. So you did 4 open houses last month and you added 14 leads from that open house. What's your strategy? Like, talk to us about like the zip code searches that you do. Just walk us through your strategy, and then I might have some follow-up questions. Cool?
Yeah, awesome. Appreciate it. Yeah, I used to be not have much. I used to not be as strategic around open houses and just kind of find an empty house, and then eventually, no one was showing up to my open houses, and so I really had to get super strategic about open houses. And now I'm seeing a lot of fruit from that. So what I do specifically is I have my 8 zip codes that I want to work, right? What I consider the hot zip codes in Austin. And then so I pop those in the zip codes in the MLS. And then if I'm gonna, typically Wednesday or Thursday, I'm looking for my open house. And so what I'll do is I will look, I'll type in from that Wednesday or that Thursday to the previous Sunday as the time frame of when the house came on the market, right? And so I'll type that in, and then I'll just put search, right? And it'll usually give me about 30 to 45 homes that have been on the market in the past 5 days, right? I don't want to go into last weekend, right? Because typically people have already held open houses on that weekend. Chances are people are not holding open houses during the week that I'm searching. So then I just pull up those properties and I just start searching and calling. I obviously there's a lot in there that's some sneak in there as land, or tear downs, right? And so I find the ones that I would want to hold open, right? People like to go look at sexy houses, right? So hold sexy houses open. And then I just call agent after agent, right? And so I'll just call. If they don't answer, I'll text. But if they do answer, it's pretty simple. Hey, this is Daniel Weiser with the Ben Kinney Real Estate Team. I would say, hey, Adelina, this is Daniel Weiser with the Ben Kinney Real Estate Team. How you doing today? Great, awesome. Hey, I'm calling in regards to your listing on 123 Main Street. It looked like it just hit the market. We'll love the opportunity to hold it open for you this Saturday at 2 to get some traffic through and to get you some feedback for your seller. My standard is to make sure I get feedback from everyone that comes through and give you the amount of people that came through. And also try my best to get agent information for anyone that's represented so you can reach out to the agent for additional feedback. And they'll say yay or nay right away. We have someone that's already holding it open, or my sellers don't want that, or absolutely. And then if they don't answer, then I just text that, right? So I go through all the records, right? All about 40 of them. And typically I can find my open houses just by doing that, right? Working the zip codes that I want to work. And it takes anywhere between, it can take 5 minutes, right? It's just like cold calling, right? You could land your appointment in 5 minutes. You could land your appointment in an hour. So it doesn't typically take me more than an hour, as long as I'm just hyper focused. And once I go through all of that, if I still haven't found one, then I'll just, sometimes I'll go back a little bit on days on market, right? Maybe something hit on Sunday that they didn't have time, right? To hold an open house. But I try to stick to that because that's where I get the most results.
I love that. Follow-up question is, why are you calling versus texting these agents?
Well, typically I don't really get a good text back rate, right? So voice to voice is most effective, right? Then they'll just put it in the MLS right then, right? A text they can just do later, and then text me back later. Sometimes people text me back 4 hours later, yeah or no, right? If I can get them on the phone right then, they can commit before they have their agents or other fellow agent relationships hold it open. So it's just most effective that way. Also, that voice to voice, right? They hear your voice over the phone, they hear your energy, they know, okay, that's who I want to be holding an open house, right? Rather than just a text. So
I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
Anything else that you would share with our agents around the open house lead gen lever? Or
yeah, it's like you always talk about, it's consistency, right? You'll have a really good open house and then the next one may not be so good, but consistency really wins the game with open houses, right? And it's such a it's really your now business, right? Not necessarily all the time, but if you're looking for now business, it's the fastest way you'll get now business. And yeah, just consistency, right? Because anytime I take my foot off the gas with open houses, you're like, oh yeah, well I did this many open houses, but you didn't do it consistently throughout the year, so you're not going to reap the benefit of that, right? It's just you continue doing it, and then eventually you hit the few the buyers that you get under contract. So
I love that. Thank you for sharing that. And I think the
Absolutely.
message that I'm hearing is if you have done open houses in the past, And maybe you stopped doing as many or doing them all together because people weren't coming to your open houses, right? The market has shifted in many of our areas. Maybe the strategy around that needs to shift. Like Daniel has shifted his strategy. You're not doing open houses the way you did them in 2021, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And I have another tip too. I scroll past all the open houses that already have open houses on them. So that's another tip too. If you see a house that's already being held open, right? I used to just call and be like, can I do Sunday or whatnot, right? But the chances are like it's just going to be less traffic because they're going to hit the agents that are like in front, right? Which is typically Friday, Saturday, right? And if you want to hold Sunday, you're just not going to, people have typically gone on Saturday or Friday. So I slide past those as well, and if I get really desperate, I might, go back to those, but finding a house that, and there's so many of them on the MLS that are, they're not holding it open, right? And they're actually vacant, right? So trying not to stack open houses with other agents because it just lessens the opportunity, but really I would say like getting really strategic around it, right? It's just an empty house, just to hold an empty house open is, it's kind of a waste of your time. And I've seen that time and time again in the past, right? And then once you get strategic about it, right? What are the buyers looking for, right? And positioning yourself in front of those buyers, right? It just takes strategy around that. But
I love that. Sounds like you have really good clarity then.
Yeah.
Love that. Thank you, Daniel, for sharing that with us.
Yeah, thank you.
Also on the open house topic, I want to go to Maria in. Oh, there we go. Let me see. I can't hear my echo. Let me see. Hold on. I'm going to mute you for a second. And then I'm going to mute myself, and then I'll unmute you. So Maria is in Midland, Texas, and Laura, her team lead, bragged about her doing an awesome open house blitz in the month of December. I think it's called 24 open houses until Christmas. So I just wanted you to be able to share with everyone what you're doing this month, Maria. I guess why this month? Are you partnering with anyone? Are you door knocking? If you are door knocking, what are you saying? Why'd you even do this? Just walk us through kind of like that journey, and then I might have some follow-up questions. You got that.
Hi, everyone. Well, I'm Maria Paraco, and I've loved open houses since day one. And so I keep doing it I would say at least 2 or 3 a month if I have the time to do it. And I decided just to, combine the two things that I really like, hosting open houses and the holidays. And since I wasn't planning to go out of town or anything like that, I had this idea in my mind for a few weeks. I run it through my teenager, and she was like, why would you do that? I mean, you're so busy all the time. Why would you do it? So I talked to Laura, and she was like, yes, I mean, if you want to do it, just let's do it. And I'm glad I had her support. And since apparently it has never been done, that's another thing that I love to do, things that are, creative and that have never been done before. We started planning about this, and I found 24 listings that are vacant, and I contacted the listing agents, told them about the idea, and they were very excited about it. And I just asked them, to talk to the sellers, because I said I'm planning to partner with vendors, lenders, local small businesses to host the open houses, and I wanted them to give me authorization to host the open house with other businesses. So they were okay with that. I also asked them to commit to let me host the open house, even if the house got under contract before that time. And it's been going great. I mean, on open house number 7, I'm hosting today, and I'm enjoying it. I think the worst thing that can happen is that I don't get any traffic, but at the same time, I'm spending time with loan officers that I've never met before. I partnered with local, their name is Highland Residential Mortgage. So the first 3 open houses, one of their loan officers was they're with me, and then they've been rotating other loan officers as well. And I'm also partnering with, I'm from Venezuela. The Venezuelan community here is huge, and they have, most of us have small businesses, and some of them are door knocking with me, going to the open houses, inviting their databases, and they're very excited about being part of this crazy idea. So I'm hosting one open house every week. I started every day. Started December 1st, and my last open house will be December 24th. Yeah. Let me see. Okay, I'm door knocking. I'm sorry. Yes. So I try to door knock, I guess, around my schedule, because I have 3 kids. So it can get crowded. My schedule is very busy. So sometimes I door knock around 1 or 2 before I start picking up kids around town. Or sometimes I do it after an open house. Like I've done it twice, like after 6, and it's a little dark. So I try not to do it like at nighttime, but I've done it anytime I need to do it, anytime I have some time, and sometimes I get a lot of people actually open the door and have a conversation with me, but I try to be, not invasive at all, because, it can be lunchtime or right before dinner. So I don't like to, to take a lot of their time. So I will usually just say, hi, my name is Maria Paraco. I'm here to invite you to an open house that we're going to have down the street tomorrow from 3 to 5. In case you know of anyone who might be looking to move into the area, please share the news. That's it. So if they talk to me, or if they ask me questions about the listings, I can engage, in a conversation, 5 to 10 minute conversation, because I'm very talkative, but I try not to. So, and it's been awesome. I guess my biggest challenge, I don't know if that was one of your questions, but it's to work on social media, because I'm not very active. So if you check my page, it's only real estate related, and I do it because I know that I need to. That is good for my business, but it's not something that I enjoy. So that's my biggest struggle, being consistent about posting about all the open houses, and whatever I do after the open house. Like I do reels, and those give me a lot of engagement from social media, especially from Facebook. So yeah, that's my biggest, I guess, struggle with all of this, because I enjoy hosting open houses no matter what. I feel like they don't waste my time ever. I'm always working on it. I'm always getting results out of open houses.
God, I love that, Maria. I love that you're using these open houses as your trigger for everything right now. It's the reason that you have to door knock, right? It's the reason to be out there. Is it from 3 to 5 every day? Is that your time frame, or what's your?
Some days from 12 to 2, some days from 4 to 6, 1 to 3, depending on the time on my schedule, and also the activities that are going around the open house. I'm trying to be also very, careful about that, so I have more traffic. Like sometimes, like for example, on Monday we had they were celebrating National Cookie Day in one of the parks. So I set up an open house that it was close to Centennial Park. So I sent out an invite saying, just go to this celebration with your kids and then stop by my open house. And for example, this Saturday we have I think it's called Jingle Bell Run or something like that, very close to downtown. So the open house that I'm hosting is in Old Midland. So it's going to be, I'm expecting a lot of traffic on that open house. So I try to do it around the activities and around my schedule, and so it doesn't get that crazy.
I love that. Doesn't get that crazy. Perfect. I love that. For anyone not following around in the chat, obviously blew up because you are a single mom, 3 kids, beautiful, beautiful family. We'll close 63 sales this year. So this isn't just, you're not like a new agent and you just need some business. I mean, we always need business, right? Whether we're new or we've been here 10 years. This is what we do for a living, guys, right? We help people buy and sell homes. And so This is awesome. You found a passion zone, and it's not just a one-time thing. It's 24 times this month. Really can't wait to follow up with you and see how it all ended up for you. If that's okay with you. Cool.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you.
I love
Thank you
that. Thank you for sharing. You're amazing every time we talk to you. There's some powerhouse women here. I'm glad we have a nice diverse. If you look at this screen right now, this is such a great diverse group of people, because whoever you are, wherever you are, what stage of life you are in, whatever your situation right now, someone has gone before you and they're paving the way. And I just want to thank Valencia and Maria and Daniel, Ciamara, Casey. You guys are all paving the way for all of us. And everyone that comes after us paves the way for someone else. So everything that we do today, like, is valuable for someone the next day and the next year. And how awesome is that? Thank you guys for all sharing this morning. All right. Well, on that note, Z, I'm going to you next. Z, you, this is your first year in real estate. I guess May is that when you started?
Correct. May 1st.
Okay, cool. May 1st. There you go. I knew you would know. Lately, you've been calling for sale by owners. So I guess interested in hearing why in the world you're calling for sale by owners, because that's not typically something people are excited about. So kind of tell us the story on that.
So I started with, initially, I think I got curious about for sale by owners because they've already raised their hand, correct? They obviously didn't use an agent either because they haven't had a great relationship, or they simply just don't see the value in it. Recently, I've dealt with people who have sold their home successfully in the past. And my follow-up question to that usually is in Austin, because I don't think that we have the same types of buyers and sellers as other areas do. So that's really been my mindset around it. Providing value that they don't think is already there. That's really why I started calling for sale by owners, and they already have their hand up.
I love that. Okay, so what are you saying when you're calling? I think that kind of throws people off because it sounds scary.
Yeah, it's pretty much sounds something like, "Hey, Adelina, thanks for taking my call. My name is Xiomara, a local real estate professional, and part of my job is to stay informed with homes that are for sale, including for sale by owners. Can you tell me a little bit about the home?" And
Okay.
it usually lends the conversation. I ask about traffic, and then typically I just say, "Hey, would love to tour the property and provide some information that will help you sell the property." So I
Okay.
asked to tour, and I also asked to
Great.
drop off information.
Bye. Thank you. See you.
Sorry, we had an extra person in there. Okay, so you ask about information on the property, then you ask to tour the home. That's where we left off.
So I asked to tour the home, and then I preemptively say, would love to have about 15 minutes of your time so that I can drop off some information that might help you sell the property quicker.
Okay. And then when you go on the appointment, what does that look like?
So I
Well,
typically treat it exactly like a listing appointment, right?
Okay.
So I set down my stuff somewhere where I'm going to follow up, and I preemptively tell them, "Hey, do you mind if I set my stuff here? Would love to, at the end of it, kind of get 10 or 15 minutes of your time and kind of discuss the property." And after that, they essentially give me the tour. But I do walk it, tour it like it's a listing appointment.
Okay, so you're walking and touring it, they're showing you the home, and then, you're sitting down and just, doing a quick spiel essentially of the listing presentation.
Correct. But throughout the time, I'm trying to establish their motivation, right? Like, I'm asking questions, getting to know them, trying to figure out their personality before we even sit down. But they're regular people, right? You're just trying to figure out why the home is even being sold in the first place and provide value. I recently had a conversation with KC, and I'm a high C, high S. And so he was just like, "You're not going there to close, like you're going there to help." And so that really helped my mentality going in there, understanding where they're at in their life and why they need to sell, and simply providing value and making sure that somebody takes care of them. Because I preemptively say, "Hey, I know you're going to get a lot of phone calls." And I say, "I'm here to help. I don't want to convince you about what your decision is going to be. I just simply want to provide value so that you can make an informed, educated decision for what's best for you and your family."
I love that. I love that. How are they responding? Like, do they hate you?
They love me, actually. They're usually like, thank you so much. Like, I feel like you're really listening to me. You seem to really understand. It's not an easy decision. It kind of open-ended questions that allows them to talk more about themselves and their situation. Really more than just the sell, right? So my goal is to understand where they're at and meet them there and try to bridge that.
I love that. The energy that you come from is what gets it done, right? Now, you can have all the good energy in the world, but if you never call anybody, if you never reach out to anybody, you never do an open house, you never do anything, right? It doesn't matter how great your energy is. It's kind of like, doesn't matter what you know until like you actually do something, right? But you put skill and careability together and it's unstoppable. You were sharing yesterday with the team your strategy around voicemails. Not everybody leaves voicemails. Why do you leave voicemails, and do you just drop those voicemails, or do you physically say the words, and what do you say to anybody?
So I don't drop voicemails. They are personal. Usually if somebody says their name in the voicemail, my rule of thumb is if they said the name, I'm going to call you by your name. But if it not, it's really, I'm already making the call, so why not drop a message, right? So it's usually something like, hey, it's Xiomara calling about your property. If it's a FSBO, it's your home. I see that your home is for sale, was calling to see if you're still taking offers. Canceled, expired, the same, right? Depending on for sale by owner or a cancel expired, it's always like, hey, are you still taking offers? Would love to connect with you. My number here is, and I drop my number.
Do you get callback rates? Good callback?
On the way back from my last appointment, I got 2 phone calls 15 minutes apart and set 2 other appointments from the previous week. So they might not call right away. And I've been doing this. I think we took conversion cardio with Valencia, and she told us the stats. And I was like, from here on out, I'm going to leave a voicemail. And so I'm just now seeing the fruits of that labor. It won't happen right away, but if there's a need, they're going to call you back. And it's kind of awkward to hang up on you when they called you.
That is so smart. Any other advice that you give agents who are prospecting, or perhaps they have prospecting on their business plan for next year, and maybe it's either gotten really, kind of old for them, or maybe they're nervous, or whatever's happening. Any advice that you'd give?
A couple of things. So mindset is everything, right? How you walk into the office or how you start the calling session is everything. Your limiting beliefs, drop those, right? Like self-talk is very important. I think that's something that we all have and struggle with. And I think consistency, to what Valencia was saying, don't stop doing the thing. Like the moment you stop making those calls from that lead gen lever, you feel rusty, no matter who you are. You stop making the calls, and you also lose a feel for what people are saying in that current moment, in that month, in that week. And just do the thing, right? Don't get so focused on the results and it not giving you what you thought it would give. Just do the thing that you said you would do, and the results will come.
Absolutely. I love that. And you can be a brand new agent, or you can be someone that's been doing this 10 years. At any point, you can pick any of these lead gen levers and change your business. Like you don't have to be brand new to prospect. You don't have to be brand new to do open houses. Like these are not brand new people things. These are just ways you build your business, right? So thank you, Xiomara, for that. That was really great. And for those of you who are like, what is this whole converted thing? I will send out an email to all of our Texas partners. There is converted coming up in January with Place. Valencia will be teaching that, and so I'll send out an email so that anyone that's really super interested in kind of learning this language, learning this mindset, like Z did, and like many other agents, you're super welcome to join in on that. So I love that, Z, Maria, Daniel, awesome. I want to go to Casey. Casey is just an awesome human being, great leader. We had Jesse from Envoy a few weeks ago, if you guys remember, and he shared a graphic of what buyers are giving up when they wait for rates to come down. And Casey, being the leader that he is, he was like, God, there's even more than that, actually. Like the opportunity is even crazier. Like the cost of waiting is even bigger. And he actually presented to our team, and I thought, this is really good. I think other people would like to hear it. So Casey, if you would you present to us kind of what was on your mind and review it with us? And for us who have already heard it, like we could literally hear it a second time. It would be great.
Sure, yeah. And you talked about leaders paving the way, like without Ben and you just like driving in our minds the benefits of home ownership, like this would have never come to mind, right? So just remember, this is like this is one thing that we're all in this together, and that's where it comes from. So yeah, let me share this window. I have to move all of you out of the way. Here we go. So yeah, I mean, really what we're talking about is the cost of waiting to buy a house. And, everyone is going to want to put things off. It's really natural for people to want to drag their feet, right? And so sometimes we have to help people, like Z was saying, we're here to help. Sometimes we help them get out of their own way. And sometimes that's having this conversation of, you can do that. And when you're doing that, this is what you're committing to, right? So I have a scenario here for you. The way Jesse set it up was, the same house, you could buy it now or you could buy it in a year, and here are some numbers. And I think that this is just a little bit more detailed, a little more complicated, I understand, but I'm going to try to break it down in a way that's easier to understand. I was sharing with the team, I had to run this 2 or 3 different ways before I really felt comfortable. And I think this is a good way to talk to your clients about it, right? So let's say you buy a house now. Because rates are higher than they'll be in a year, you can get a deal on a house, right? So let's say you buy this house, awesome house, $500,000. You've got 10% to put down. You have a 6.875 rate. Let's say you get a little bit from a seller, or you're going FHA, right? Like you got that's a good rate to us compared to the last year, right? But that's the rate you get. And let's say this is a nicer house than you expected because of market factors, right? We all know that we can negotiate deals right now. We all know that there's certain things in our grasp that maybe we couldn't afford in a year, right? And so we're taking that into account. But your payment for that is right around this. This is someone asked, it's just principal and interest. This doesn't include taxes or insurance. Don't tell anyone that they can pay $3,000 a month for a $500,000 house. That's not what we're saying here. But we're just focusing on the market factors and the mortgage factors right now. Insurance, that's all taxes. Those are going to be what they're going to be. So that's this scenario. Let's say now we look at buying a house in a year. Actually, hold on. I think that we missed a slide. There we go. Okay. So you own that house, that $500,000 house that you got with a historically pretty normal 6.875 interest rate, right? We've got $30,000 in appreciation over a year at about a 6% rate at a $500,000 house, right? We've also paid down the principal of about $5,000, right? We've written off over $6,000 in taxes. You have about 20K equity from those negotiations we were talking about, right? Because of these market factors, because it's a nicer house than what you can afford in a year. And the total benefits of that, it's not just the $30,000 appreciation, which is totally good, right? It's almost double that, or it's more than double that here, especially if you take this into account. And I have it in italics because I'm going to address what if we are just looking at the same house, right? But I highly recommend going to your mortgage calculator and looking at a specific price point for the client that you're working with, and going to the table and finding out what are they paying in a year and what is the benefit, right? Based on that. Okay, so that's if you owned that house for a year. Now let's look at buying a house in a year. You waited a year and now we're going to jump into the market. Well, rates have gone down. Maybe they didn't go down 6 times like a very, optimistic bank shared, but they've gone down, right? And so we'll say $530,000. That's not bad, right? That's just appreciation. It might be more for the same house, but you're probably not buying the same house. You're buying something that's still within your means though. 10% down, you have a 6% rate, right? Almost 1% less. That's pretty great, right? So we like the rate. But it's not as nice of a house because of now there's competition, and it's going to be harder for you out there because you're not able to negotiate great deals. You're not getting any buy downs, nothing like that. And let's also not forget that you paid almost $22,000 in rent because you're renting in Austin and our average is about $1,800 a month, right? So savings, what do savings look like? You're paying $28.59 and some change a month. That's less than $100 a month that you're saving, less than $1,200 a year, $1,150 or so, right? So I don't know, that's not that much money for me to want to wait. But let's compare the two, right? So if you were to buy now, we've got $30,000 annual appraisal, the principal paid, the tax written off. You've all seen the page in the buyer guide, right? Plus our $20K of equity, $60K total benefits. Over here, we're saving $96 a month, right? Now, $96 a month, I'm not saying that that's not money, right? Like if you can't afford the extra $96 a month, you know, you probably need to adjust your price point and then buy now, right? You can own anything for 2 years and then rent it out and go buy another one. But for this, you know, if we're looking at an $1,150 and change savings, it's going to take you 52 years to make up the difference. And what's interesting is you've got a 30-year mortgage, right? So you'll actually never recoup what you're missing by going with, you know, the waiting scenario. Right. So here's my takeaways. Even without taking those market factors into account, there's still a $31,000 difference, and it takes 26 years and 8 months to catch up. And that's if the payments stay the same. Right. And we know they're not going to. Chances are someone's going to refi after buying at 6.875. Right. So anyway, I highly recommend incorporating this rent portion into the conversation as well. And yeah, so that's the slides. That's the conversation as I'm having it with my clients. That's kind of how my brain works because I've been drinking this Kool-Aid for a while.
I love this because our buyers, they are singularly focused on just the interest rate. And having this conversation like Casey did, especially with having like a visual, essentially you're having the conversation that it's not just interest rate. There's more to it than just the interest rate. And when you become, you know, multidimensional in this and you're able to educate them like Casey's educating folks, it's not just interest rate. You're actually losing a lot. There is a cost to waiting. It's a 26-year, 8-month catch up is what it is. Anything else that you'd share that you're seeing in the market? I know, Casey, that you coach a lot of folks. Anything else that you're seeing that you want to leave us with?
You know, I think that it's really important, like Z said, we did have that conversation. And what I'm having to reiterate to everyone right now is that we are here to help, but sometimes helping is closing. Right. And so as we're having these conversations, it's not enough just to educate, but we have to help people get into action as well. So as you're having these conversations, I end this conversation with, and so that's why I think we ought to go out and take a look at some houses in this $500,000 range, because really we're looking at $530,000 houses. Right? That's what we're looking at, because your alternative is we wait till rates go down, and that's going to be a whole year. So let's go look at those. Let's get out there. Let's take a look at these houses. Let's get in them. Let's see how they are. If you find one you love, oh my gosh, you're going to make $60,000 in the process. Right? So what do we have to lose? I've got some time on Friday at 4. Want to go take a look at some houses? Right?
Love
So
that.
we need to constantly be moving people into action.
I love that. It's not enough just to want to help people. It's getting people to take action for themselves. I love that. Love that. Never been a better time. Never been a better time to be a buyer. That's for sure. I love that. Thank you guys so much for paving the way for us today. And what an awesome way to end the year with such a great group of top agents. We'll see everyone after the holidays on January 4th, and we'll have a whole lineup of value in 2024. I'm super excited. Have a wonderful December. Maria, we are waiting to see what happens with all your 24 open houses. It'll be really great. And I'll send you guys some follow-up emails in the month of December to keep the energy going, but we'll see everyone in person on Zoom January 4th. You guys have an awesome holiday season. We'll see you next time. Bye, guys.